Rumble stock. It's up a massive 4% today. Why? What's going on with Rumble? Welcome back, everybody. We got to talk about the website that's imminently about to slay YouTube. Rumble is a video streaming platform just like YouTube, just like what you're watching right now, except it's a very crappy, unmonetizable, or at least barely monetizable platform that, in my opinion, sucks really bad. And I can tell you from personal experience, I don't like it because I've been on it. I just don't like how it operates. Maybe one day it'll be an amazing competitor to YouTube. We'll see. But I'm not a big fan. So, Rumble stock is apparently up today on all the drama based on Donald Trump, okay? So, we all know that Trump got indicted for using hush money to pay off the two women that he spent time with. And the idea, according to this article at least, is that conservative users will flock to platforms like Rumble because of the news. Now, I'm a Trump voter. I'm a conservative, or at least you could classify me as that. And I can tell you, because Trump got indicted, I am not rushing to Rumble, especially as a creator, because I don't think there's any money in it. So let's talk about it from a creator's perspective, and then we're going to go look at the financials. So I've put videos on Rumble before, okay? I have a thing called Strongman Personal Finance. I don't know who that is anymore. But I've uploaded, I'd say about 2 dozen videos. And I've made absolutely no money whatsoever. As a matter of fact, my videos get almost no views. Like 0. I get nothing, okay? So you compare that to YouTube. At least on YouTube, I get some kind of attention. But look at this. These videos have been on here for a long time. 2 views, 1 view, 2 views, 2 views, 3 views. Absolute freaking garbage, okay? And I have the same thumbnails that I use on YouTube. So the question is, why risk having my content demonetized on YouTube by listing my content on another platform that is a quote-unquote competitor of YouTube? So on top of that, I just don't like the interface. There's just something about how it, feels, looks. It just doesn't really sync with me, okay? It's not a scam. It works. It's great. You can watch videos and stuff, but the interface is just not as developed and smooth as YouTube. It's hard to put a finger on exactly why I don't like it. There are some creators on here that do well. I'm not going to dispute that. But for a small creator, I really think the money's really in YouTube. So Rumble stock, the company, also owns, on top of this website, Rumble, they also own this thing called Locals, which is apparently a subscription-based platform where you post content and people subscribe to it and you make more money off your creators. And they've got some very interesting people on here, okay? They've got Steven Crowder, they got Scott Adams, Russell Brand, dork, Tulsi Gabbard, she's on here, Dave Rubin. They've got a bunch of very interesting people on this website. The Quartering, Dinesh D'Souza. So there's some big names, right? All in the conservative space. But you still have to ask yourself, okay, well, how popular is this actually? Is this really, a legitimate competitor to YouTube? Well, I did some very, very simple sleuthing, okay? And I looked up the monthly average active users of YouTube. For the third quarter, this is pretty recent. For the third quarter of 2022, YouTube, which I'm on right now, which I will continue to be on for the foreseeable future, has 2.6 billion monthly active users. That's like a third of the global population, okay? That's insane. That is a lot of people. More than 50% of mobile internet users access YouTube every month. YouTube is a colossus. It is a dominating, amazing colossus. Let's compare that to Rumble My Bumble. How much does Rumble have? Well, here's the financial statements. But if we go up to the beginning, they actually tell us, okay? They have a total of 80 million monthly active users in Q4 of 2022. So compare 80 million to 2.6 billion. YouTube is a colossus next to Rumble. Rumble doesn't hold a freaking candle next to YouTube. Where do you think the money's gonna go? You think an advertiser's gonna be like, oh, let me go to this platform, Rumble, that's, has a couple right-wing people that are famous on there, and it's really dramatic, and it's associated with Trump, who's a really bad guy. Oh, and they only have 80 million monthly active users, which is still a lot. That's a lot of people, right? But you compare that to YouTube, your audience is potential audience. Of course, they have different languages, etc. 2.6 billion. Like 1 out of every 3 people on the freaking planet goes on YouTube. That is insane. Okay, YouTube is the beast. Now, Rumble. So they have Rumble, they have Locals, this little subscription thing, and then they're trying to get into the cloud, okay? So, if your business gets in trouble by, the evil big tech, you can upload your stuff to Rumble Cloud. So, they're expanding, they're growing. But if you look at the financial statements, okay, Rumble is not the hottest business in it's not the sharpest tool in the shed. It's not the best business out there. And I can tell you that because it's massively unprofitable. It's a new business. Now, YouTube is controlled by Google, so it falls under the Google umbrella. Rumble is its own independently traded stock, so it's hard to compare the two. Okay, maybe if I dived into Google's financial statements, I could see. But just looking at Rumble's consolidated statement of comprehensive income, so there's a bunch of numbers on here, blah, 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 right? What's the conclusion? Well, for the year ended December 31st, 2022, they had 40 million in revenue, right? And they had 75 million in expenses. 40 million versus 75 million of expenses. So they're running massive operating losses to the tune of, negative 50%? Close to it, more. They have massive operating losses. Now, if you look at their loss before income tax, you can see that they have this massive fair value of warrant liability adjustment, which basically distorts their profit and loss. Why is that? Well, warrants are basically, it gives you the right to buy shares of a company. That's basically what a warrant is. It's kind of like an option, but not really. And when a company has warrants, they have a warrant liability where they potentially have to, give out shares of stock. It's actually expressed on the financial statements as a warrant liability. So when you see it going up, that generally means that they're recording some kind of gain because they're reducing the warrant liability. Why would they reduce the warrant liability? Because the stock price is going down. If they are obligated at some point to give out stock, which is a liability, and the stock price goes down, isn't your liability down? Doesn't your liability go down? Yes. Okay. So you're going to see all these fluctuations in Rumble's net earnings, and it's going to be from their warrant liability. And if the stock goes up, that could potentially go down. So I would almost ignore that. Okay. I would focus more on operating earnings as an indicator, of how this company's doing. And they've lost $35 billion in the last year off of 39 million in revenue. That's pretty freaking bad. Okay, 35 million on 39, that's pretty freaking bad. So then we go to the balance sheet, right? So they have a fortress balance sheet. They have so much cash because they just had their SPAC merger go through maybe 6 months ago, like the final merger went through. So you can see a massive increase in cash from 46 all the way to $337 million. So they are not going to go bankrupt anytime soon, okay? But to compare this to YouTube is a joke. Rumble has 80 million monthly active users. YouTube has 2.6 billion. It's not even funny, okay? And YouTube falls under the parent umbrella of Google. So, YouTube, even if it ran into financial trouble, still operates under Google. Okay, YouTube ain't going anywhere. Or Alphabet. It ain't Google Alphabet, whatever. It ain't going anywhere. Rumble, if it doesn't ever become profitable, it could potentially collapse and go out of business. 100%. But for right now, they have a very, very solid balance sheet. Huge amount of cash, okay? Now we go down and we look at their debts, okay? They really don't have... They could basically pay off all their debts. They could pay off all of their freaking debts by just taking their cash. I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't think they should do that because they should probably hoard as much cash as possible because they're burning money. But they're going to be okay. Now, we can see their equity section that their accumulated deficit has gone up. That means they've been losing money. And their additional paid-in capital has gone up massively, which means they issued a bunch of stock. Now, if we go down to the statement of cash flows, we can see the real story here when it comes to cash inflows and cash outflows. For the year ended December 31st, 2022, they burned $32 million in operating cash, and another 10 million in roughly 9 million in capital assets and intellectual property. So if they maintain the same pace, they're going to be burning roughly $40 million of cash a year. And I expect that to go up, of course. Usually these companies, like, the bigger they get and the more profitable they are, the more cash they burn. So they're going to be burning 40 million of cash minimum, as a guess, every single year. So if you go back and look at their balance sheet, I mean, they could last a long time. Okay, so they're not imminently going bankrupt, but they are a cash burning business. Very, very clear right there. 32 million plus the purchase of capital assets. Maybe this won't go up as much. Maybe they don't need any more capital assets, but they're still burning cash. Now we could see that, the largest inflow of cash, it all came from a qualifying transaction, which is the SPAC merger. That's where they combined with whatever company and went public. So at the end of the day, this stock is a turd, okay? Don't compare YouTube to Rumble. There's no comparison, all right? The financials aren't that great. Obviously, they're not going out of business anytime soon. Not even close. But when it comes to profit and loss and cash flows, it's absolutely garbage. Absolutely garbage, okay? So just be aware of that when you're thinking, oh, this is the next YouTube. Oh, this is going to take over YouTube. Oh, yeah. I somehow doubt that. I'm just putting that out there, all right? That's my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I'll talk to you later.